Hi, my name is Brittany S. Hall, and you are watching Behind the Headshot with Zachariah Shoots.
Brittany, where are you from?
I was born in Washington, D.C., and I grew up in Maryland. So, all over Maryland, Forestville, Upper Marlboro, Clinton, Calvert County, Southern Maryland, a little bit after high school.
What was it like growing up there?
Growing up in Maryland for me was pretty interesting because up until high school, I grew up in the predominantly black side of Maryland. And then it wasn't until high school I discovered there was a whole other part of Maryland that was like all white. And I went to a predominantly white high school. And so it was like a culture shock because my entire life I saw black faces every day. So it was very different. And I became popular for being black, which is interesting. Like I was literally my high school's first ever prom queen. And I honestly, that's just because I was black and recognizable for being black. But hey, it's cool. I love being black.
How do you feel that growing up in a predominantly white area has shaped your perspective?
I feel as though like growing up in an area where, you see black faces your entire life, every day of your life, and then you shift into an area where you see white faces, you just become hyper aware of the different realities and perspectives that people have. And I just think it kind of really gave me more wisdom of how people see life based on diversity and how people see people based on diversity. It kind of like gave me just a deeper understanding of perspectives based on skin tones and skin colors and becoming hyper aware of that.
Do you think that growing up that way and having that different perspective has helped you a lot in your acting career?
I do. I feel like having diversity in perspectives definitely has helped me a lot. Just not even just in acting, but in life. Like, it's actually brought me a lot of peace to not to go to war with people who just have a perspective I don't agree with. I really know I feel like now, how to just surrender to the fact that people see life a certain way and I don't have to go to war with them for how they see it differently than me.
So you were born and raised in the DMV. During that time, what was it that influenced you or initiated your love for theater and art?
I feel like, growing up in the DMV, like, there's a lot of culture, there's a lot of, like, I think, like, artistic culture, just the expression of people, like, how we express ourselves through our music, through our language, through our dance, like, beating your feet, like, go-go, it has its own, like, creative expression in a melting pot, and I feel like that definitely influenced me and also made me embrace just who I am, like growing up in that area. And as far as like creatively, I just feel as though like it gave me the freedom to know that my creative expression can be different, because I saw that my entire life. Like the DMV has a different expression creatively than the rest of the world. Like go-go music is its own thing, So yeah. So there's a few places I lived. I lived in New York, I lived in Atlanta, I lived in Houston, and now I live in Los Angeles. Each place is different. Each place I feel like I found a different part of myself in that space. I discovered a different part of myself in that space, or I welcomed a different part of myself wherever I am. New York for me was just like the hustle and bustle and the nightlife and the city that never sleeps. Like it really lives up to its name. Atlanta was just like the black excellence, the black culture. Atlanta is where I first got my start in acting. But also I feel like I outgrew it very fast. Me being the type of person I am, where I embrace challenges, it's very easy for me to outgrow things quickly because I take the challenge head on, and then I'm like, all right, what's next? And what was next for me after Atlanta was LA. And for me, when I came to LA, it was so many challenges that I wasn't expecting. And it made me mature and grow up in a way that I didn't know I needed. It also changed my perspective on beauty. Like now I have to see beauty differently. It changed my perspective on art. It changed my perspective on business. Because coming here as an actress, I was so focused on the art and the talent and the acting that I forgot that Hollywood's an actual fucking business. So I had to learn the business side of things, and I had to learn how to consider the business of art. And LA taught me that. I call myself a nomad just because I enjoy traveling. Like Earth is home to me. And I don't know exactly like where I want to permanently lay roots, and I'm almost actually afraid to permanently lay roots before I'm certain on where I'm supposed to land. And so right now I consider myself a nomad because even though, yes, I have a home here in LA, it's a sanctuary for me to go back to, but I want to travel the world. I want to explore. I want to discover. I want to see what's out there. And then I can figure out where I want a place to call home. But right now I feel like I have time to see the world. So I'm going to do that.
What places are you drawn to in the world?
I'm really drawn to France. My mother named me after a French woman, and I've been learning French. So I'm really drawn to France. I'm really drawn to the south of France. I'm really drawn to Italy. Mainly Europe, mostly, and Egypt. I really want to go to Egypt and see Egypt.
So you are also a spiritual coach.
Mm-hmm.
What is spirituality to you?
Ooh, spirituality to me is about the part of life that is hard to comprehend because it's the work that you do outside of the material plane. It's spiritual work that is so powerful, so godly that it's bigger than your comprehension. But it requires your commitment and your discipline, even when you can't quite understand what you're going through, or quite understand what you're feeling, or how you're transcending, or how you're evolving. Spirituality to me is the shadow work, you know, the godly work, the internal work that, yes, it reflects externally, but it's the work in the unseen world, whether that's feelings, emotions, thoughts, patterns, habits, all that, forgiveness, all of that, you know?
When did you know that spirituality was a staple in your life, and how was that established?
That's a good question. I feel like spirituality came into my life heavily, like sometime around the age of 26. I consider my 26th birthday like my rebirth. I was going through a transformation. It was right before my Saturn's return, obviously. So, you know, I was learning and growing, and I just embraced the journey of it. And now at 35, I feel like it's just been such a profound, transformative experience tapping into my spirituality, and it bleeds into every factor of my life. Like my spirituality bleeds into my career, it bleeds into my relationship, it bleeds into my friendships, and I love that. It's the foundation of how I move. My relationship with God, my relationship with myself, my relationship with the God within me. It's the foundation of everything. It's the foundation of how I established my career. Like all the blessings I have in my career, I manifested from a place within me of connecting the God within me to say, look, this is what we're gonna do. And so before I'm an actress, before I'm anything in the world, I feel like I'm a spiritual being that's honoring my highest good. And I found my spirituality. I actually found my purpose in being a life coach when I took a break from my passion. And when I took that break from my passion, I discovered that, wow, the thing I thought I came here to do, which was act, wasn't actually my purpose. My purpose is actually helping people. My passion is acting. And discovering the difference between my passion and my purpose gave me a sense of peace, to the point where I can enjoy my passion as an actress, as a producer, as a filmmaker, as an artist. But I also have this purpose that keeps me fulfilled. And so I love the balance that I have within having both, because I don't know how many people can say that, you know?
When did you discover your passion for acting?
Ooh, that's a good question. I discovered my passion for acting definitely when I was like, I want to say 5 or 6. I played Little Bo Peep in a stage play. And I just remember like falling in love with it in that moment. Like, and you know, to be honest, as a kid, being raised by a single parent, I remember my plays being one of those moments where my mother showed up for me outside of like work. Like, it was one of those things where your mom like is there to support you, and one of the very first ways she supported me was in a play. So I think like seeing my mom there is another factor that I kind of latched on to the craft, because in a way I saw the first person I ever fell in love with supporting me in it. So I was like, oh, I want to do this, you know? And I was very, very young, so yeah.
How did you get your start as an actor?
I got my start in acting. I had a friend invite me to an acting class. I studied acting my entire life. I wrote school plays. I was a theater major in college, but then I took a break. And I did a reality show, and I thought that would kind of be a good way to get the door kicked in, but it wasn't really what I thought it would be. And it actually made me fall into like a deep depression. And I had a friend invite me to an acting class, and it was the first time I went to an acting class in years. And it really pulled me out of that depression, that depressed state. I felt like it brought me a sense of life back into me. And in that acting class, I met my agent. He was there watching one day in the class, and he signed me. And from there, I started auditioning, and I started booking. And then I decided, okay, I want to go for the big dogs. And I moved to LA, and then I got a manager, and then that manager led me to an agent, and everything just started to fall into place. But honestly, I think acting just saved my mental health, because of how it pulled me out of that dark space and giving myself the ability to just play in these different worlds. It gave me a way to take a break from the world that I was living in at the time that wasn't making me happy. So
if an actor is presented with the opportunity to do a reality show, do you think that will help or hinder their career? And what do you think it did for your own?
I think nowadays everything's different. I remember when I did my reality show, I feel like back then, before social media, before followers had really an impact on roles that you can book and things like that, I think that there was a separation between like reality TV stars and actual actors. And I feel like back in the day, when I say back in the day, I mean like at least as 5 years ago. It wasn't even that long ago, but I feel like there was a separation between the two, and you were either one or the other. Versus like now, I see reality stars in movies or social media personalities in movies and things like that. And I just think that you have the ability now to get your foot in the door. Like, it's easier now with social media, even reality TV and things, to get those acting opportunities. Now, I do say the kind of roles you will get is interesting, because you may just get filler roles, you know what I mean? Or you may just get bigger roles. Who's to say? I don't know. But I just know that it's different now. I just know back then it wasn't easily acceptable to cast a reality star, versus now it's more open. which is great.
Do you feel like it was difficult for you to rebrand after that, or was it pretty seamless?
It was difficult for me to rebrand myself from being a reality star to being an actress. I feel like I intentionally had to make people forget that I did reality TV. Like, I stopped talking about it. I didn't go by the name that people knew me on for reality TV. I didn't want to be associated with it because, to be quite honest, I fell in love with acting first, and I only did the reality shows for an opportunity, thinking it would help, without really knowing what I was getting myself into. So for me personally, yeah, it was tough. And I feel like now I'm at the point where people don't even realize I came from reality TV, and I like it. I like that.
Your favorite project that you've worked on so far?
What is my favorite project? Oh man, that's actually tough. I have a sincere, true blessing of being blessed to work on amazing projects with phenomenal people, making great connections and enjoying the journey. Like, I enjoy the projects I work on. I feel like God looks out for me in that kind of way, but also it just speaks to like my energy. Like, I have full faith in God and full faith in the universe and in leading me and putting me in certain rooms and everything. So it's not too often, even when it's challenging, that I feel like I wasn't in the right space. Actually, that very rarely happens. So I would, oh, man, it's so tough. What's the best project? Okay, I'm gonna say this. I really enjoyed Imani. I really enjoyed Imani because that was a full-fledged manifestation that came to life. Like, when I first jumped into acting, I was like, I want to be an action star. I want to do action. I want people to see me equally as strong as I am vulnerable, and I wanted to show that within a Black woman. And so when I got the opportunity to do Imani, and when I got that role, I was just like, this is the moment I've been waiting for. And I absolutely want to do more action movies. And it's challenging, and it's tough, and it's draining, and it's tiring, and there's training, and it's not easy, but I enjoyed it, and I loved it. So I think Imani, it was a 4-month shoot, and what's crazy is my grandmother passed during that shoot. So for me to say that now, I'm thinking back like, wow, like, as tough as it was, as much as I went through, I still look back and say that was a great blessing, a great answer to what I wanted in life happening. I wanted to do action, and it happened.
What's your dream role?
All right, I'm gonna tell you my dream role. I'm very nervous because I don't like to share my dreams too much before they come true. But my dream role right now is to play Janet Jackson in the biopic. I've always had this obsession with Janet. I feel like I move like her. Like, I don't know. It's just something about her that I'm like, I could do that. I could play her. I could move like her. I could embody her. Like, I just feel like I could really do her justice if I were to play her. And I would love the opportunity because I know I could do it justice. Like, I just feel it. Yeah.
So you also ran an acting studio. I did. What made you want to do that?
I opened an acting studio, I want to say it was 2018. I had just this desire for a space that I felt like I needed. Like, I wanted a space where we could just play. Like, I every time I went to an acting class or something, even though I could have enjoyed the class, I felt like the play was taken out of it. Like, the funness of acting wasn't emphasized, right? And so when I opened the studio, I called it Actors Play LA because I wanted a space for us to have fun working on the skills and enjoying each other, and a place to practice, just a place for all of us to practice our skills. And I just went for it, not knowing what it would become or anything like that. I was just like, fuck it, I'm just gonna create the space, and like, you know, like the saying goes, if you build it, they will come. And then actors just started coming through the doors, and it was amazing. And I was so surprised by what it became. I'm really proud of it, what it was at the time.
What's the best acting advice you've ever received?
Don't try to be interesting, be interested. Because what makes you interesting is when you're interested in who you're talking to. So every time, and that's just in life, I think that was the best advice I got. Like when I'm talking to people, me being interested in you makes you interested in me, because I'm not worried about me, I'm worried about you. And people like when people are interested in them. So now you're drawn to me because I'm drawn to you. So that was the best advice I feel like I got. Oh, and another one, do not protect your characters. That was another one. Like, don't try to protect your characters, because that can happen a lot, where you won't live up to the truth of the character because you're making decisions out of protecting them. But don't protect your characters. They have to make their own decisions, go through their own journeys, and you have to be truthful to it.
Do you have an audition philosophy?
Yes, my philosophy for audition is the same philosophy I use in life, one step at a time. When I audition, I don't try to memorize every scene within the sides. I literally work on the first scene, and when I'm done with that, I move to the next scene. And when I'm done with that, I move to the next scene. And also my philosophy with auditioning is have fun. If you're not having fun, it's not gonna read as fun on camera. Like, people can feel when you're having fun doing what you do. And so for me, I like to bring the energy of funness into my audition, even if it's a serious audition. I want you to know that I'm actually enjoying doing this work, so that you know when I get to a set after you book me, I'm gonna enjoy it, you know? So.
What's something you wish more people knew about you?
That's a good question. I don't know. To be honest, I don't think I wish there was more things people knew about me. Whatever people think about me, I accept. Whatever they think they know about me, I accept. Whatever they do know that's true about me, I accept. And what they don't know, I accept. And if they want to know more and get to know me, cool, I'm open. But I don't desire to make people know certain things about me. I just accept whatever it is that they feel they know, do know, don't know, want to know, whatever. I don't desire to manipulate people so they can see me a certain way. You're just going to see me how you choose to see me anyway, so.
What do you feel is your biggest accomplishment as an actor?
What is my biggest accomplishment as an actor? Believing in myself. The fact that I make a living off of being an actor is my biggest accomplishment. Because I remember being a kid, like, knowing I wanted this life, but not knowing that this life was obtainable. And so my biggest accomplishment is not only navigating it, but it's also figuring it out and obtaining it when I didn't know how, you know? I have a few nominations and things under my belt, but every day I have to remind myself, like, wow, you're doing it. Like, you're living your life as an actress. Like, that's all you want to do, and you're doing it, you know? So the fact that this was my dream and I'm living my dream, like, yeah, it's my greatest accomplishment.
What was your most fulfilling or rewarding experience as a spiritual coach?
Oh man, I have so many rewarding experiences, and I get so many so often. It's just seeing and feeling and hearing the people who I work with and how they feel about themselves, how they're willing to love themselves more or accept where they are, or the epiphanies that they have about life, or the self-love that they discover, or just seeing how their life moves with ease because they found the answers within themselves. Because for me as a coach, I can't really take credit for the outcome of people who I work with, because the number one thing that they taught us, in the training through life coaching and spiritual coaching is that you lead through asking questions and allowing people to find their own answers. So me learning that, I became that kind of guide, and I feel like I really taught people how to heal themselves, like how to become their own healers, how to go within and seek their own answers. And I'm really just a person kind of like asking you the right questions to kind of guide you there. And so I feel like those moments where they go within and they find that answer and they go, and I get to witness those moments, those mean a lot to me.
If you could star in a movie alongside any actors, who would you cast in that movie?
I created a movie, a movie deck. I worked on a script in 2019, and I made a movie deck. And in my cast was Angela Bassett. She was gonna play my mother. Aunjanue Ellis, who was gonna play her best friend. Michael K. Williams, who passed away. And yeah, they were in that movie, and I was looking. I want to see that come to life. And then also, like, I have a few friends in the industry who I would love to work with. They're so awesome. But yeah.
Who are those friends?
Who are those friends?
Shout out.
Dominique Perry, JoJo Gibbs. I got so many. Stephen Barrington, Gail Bean, Joy McEvelyn. Shaniqua. I like Shaniqua. She's so dope.
Shaniqua Shande?
Yes. That have so, like, the list is freaking ridiculous. But, like, Karen Oblum, like, there's so many dope ass actors I know that I'm like, I just hope that I have a long career where I get the chance to really work with them in different ways.
So you recently started a movie alongside a couple other actors called Three Way. Talk about that experience, because I know a lot of people want to know like what it was like to film something like that.
You know, a secret, I'm gonna tell you a secret that is not on the internet right now. So this is very special. Three Ways is a movie obviously about threesome. So, if you've seen the movie in the last, few minutes of the movie, it's all the threesome happening. And what's crazy is, are you ready for this? I probably hold, I don't know, maybe the Guinness Book World Record, but I don't know. But I look naked in the movie. I wasn't naked. It is CGI. Like, my nipples are CGI in the movie. I had on nipple covers. so they went back and drew the nipples on the movie because I wasn't comfortable with being topless. And the director asked me and I was like, no. And he's like, okay. And I had on nipple covers, I had on underwear, and in post, they went back, Rebecca, who worked on the movie, she went back in post and drew nipples on me and drew me looking naked. And I think that is so profound because I was able to say, I'm not comfortable, and they were able to say, okay, and they worked around it and still got what they needed. And I think that's major to even know that you have that option in this industry. Like, you have that option. Like, I know people are watching that right now thinking those are my tits, but those actually aren't my nipples. Those were drawn on. So there you go, world. Surprise. I love that they were able to do that. I think that's amazing that they respected my boundaries and still honored the art. And they asked me after, like, is it okay if we, absolutely, shit, I don't care. I just didn't want to shoot it naked with my tits out because it was already extreme, everything we're doing, in the movie. So the fact that I could say no, and the fact that, they still were able to draw on nipples, and the fact that everyone still thinks that I'm naked is cool. Shout out to Rebecca. Shout out to you, Rebecca. You drew some great nipples, girl. They look good. That post-production editing snapped.
What advice would you give to your younger self before moving to LA?
I have this theory that we are connected to ourselves, past, present, and future. It's me especially, like, I feel like there's a part of me that's connected to my past self that is telling me I didn't miss out on things that I thought I missed out on, or you made the right decision, and then I feel like there's a part of me that has a cord connected to my future self that's leading me to that future self. I guess the advice would just be like, trust me.
So you also did some stand-up comedy.
Yeah, wow, you're making me remember. I did do stand-up. Yeah.
What was that experience like? What made you want to what got you into stand-up when you did stand-up?
I think I chose stand-up just because I was looking for a stage and a creative outlet and an expression and a challenge. And I love laughing, and I love like comedians. And when I decided to do stand-up, I studied comedians. Like, I studied Richard Pryor, I studied Kevin Hart at the time, and I studied, Mike Epps and Eddie Murphy. I watched their stand-up, and I realized the correlation with what usually hits and connects with people is the art of storytelling, the relatability within the storytelling. So I would literally sit on the subway, because at the time I was living in New York. I would sit on the subway and I would watch people, and I would always find funny stories. I was living in New York. I would just sit on the subway. I'd take the subway and I would people watch, and I would have a little notepad, and I would get so much material out of watching people. Like, people are really fucking funny when you pay attention to them. When you just sit and watch people, it's great television. Like, you know what I mean? It's kind of like that. And I would pull all my stories from that, or I'd pull it from just, a real place. And I had a friend at the time who loved comedy shows and was constantly going to comedy shows. I was like, can you sit down, let me like run this in front of you? And if I knew I could make him laugh, I was good. And I tried comedy just as a way to have a creative outlet and creative expression. And it was challenging, but it was fun. It's fun. And I love how people underestimated me. They didn't think I was gonna be funny, but I'm funny.
What do you have going on in your life right now?
Ooh, right now, what do I have going on? Well, I mean, I'm on a show right now on Apple TV called Dear Edward. We wrapped season 1, obviously, it just finished airing. I am shooting another show right now. I ain't gonna say what, you're gonna have to wait to see. And I'm really excited because this was a major manifestation for me to bring to life. Like, the people attached to this series I've been wanting to work with wrote their names down, or wrote her name down years ago, and I'm on her show. And the way it came to me was just godly. Like, I get what I want with ease these days, and I'm really grateful for it. So yeah, you just gonna see this face on TV somehow, get used to it. And when I'm not, working in front of a camera, I'm working on myself, or working with other people to help them work on themselves. And that's just life. Life is life, and in a beautiful way. I'm just living, loving, and praising God.
As a life coach and former acting coach, what advice would you give to young, aspiring actors?
There's so much advice I want to give to young, aspiring actors, but one thing I do want to remind a lot of actors is remember that this is a business. So when you don't get the part, don't take it personal. When things don't go your way, don't take it personal, and please learn the business, because I feel like a lot of actors think that they don't have the skill or the competence because they're not booking, but they don't understand that this is a business. And sometimes it's just business things happening, and it has absolutely nothing to do with you, so your worth isn't measured or determined by what you're booking, by who knows you, by the shows that you're on. Like, you literally determine and measure your worth, just you do that. So don't hand it over to this industry. Don't let this industry and what you're doing in it and the success that you have in it or the success that you don't have in it determine your worth. Like, don't do that, okay? And then another thing I would say is if you can, have fun. Just try to always have fun. Not if you can, because you can have fun. So find a way to have fun. It will make you enjoy the journey more.
All right, Brittany S. Hall, thank you so much for being on Behind the Headshot. I really appreciate you.
Thank you. I appreciate you.
Yeah.
I love this. This is amazing.
That's good, right?
These are the best headshots I've ever taken in my life.
Amazing.